right.
All right, you're on.
And forum, we'll start with the pledge of allegiance.
Pledge allegiance to the flag of the United States of America and to the republic for which it stands, one nation, under God, indivisible, with liberty and justice for all.
And I apologize in deference to the videographer. It is the 10th of December, 2019. This is a meeting of the Tufton Borough Budget Committee, so I apologize. Okay, public input. And forthcoming, our minutes of December 3rd.
Now, Karen, I think you do this just to see if somebody's reading it.
They do 2 words again?
Yeah. Under ambulance in the second line,
Yep.
it should be at least one EMTA and other EMTA.
Oh, yep, you probably, yeah, what did I do? And other, oh, that's a good one.
Well, you know, I really think you just do that so you
Yeah.
can see if we read
Oh, you're
them.
on me now.
I don't know, she does a good job. I
She does
attended
an
a board
excellent
meeting
job.
for a school on Monday night, and read their minutes, and I said, this is school, for God's sake. Can we create a sentence? A little verb?
L.Y. does modify a verb. Anything else to talk to anybody? Okay, entertain a motion.
I move that we accept the minutes as corrected.
I'll second that.
Moved and seconded. Those in favor, aye.
Aye.
Opposed? Thank you. Then on we go to the heart of the matter. First is budgeted 4155 personnel administration.
Number 4155 in your handles. We did it, and the chairman was there at the meeting when we discussed this with Diane. But we're actually 21,000 figures below last year on this. We had discussed, I think, the health insurance last week, or last meeting. The other.
Yeah, and I don't understand, based on what we discussed at the last meeting, I was really surprised to see that the proposed amount went down, because I thought you were looking at an increase. Sorry, Chip, I interrupted you. I apologize.
Right. We were, we were looking at an increase, but then we had to audit the numbers before we actually signed out. And we had some changes. We had lost one employee that I don't think she had calculated, and the town clerk's office. And we added an employee that didn't need the insurance. There was some movement that went on in the last week or so, so that changed.
No, that's good news.
There was one employee that went from family to
Right.
2 people.
I forget that.
And there
Yeah,
was-
I remember seeing a note that somebody's child aged out
Yeah.
Right.
at 26. Thank you, Obamacare.
On him.
Oh, we said we made it 26.
My parents would have thrown me out long before I hit 26.
Yeah, that's what happened.
Well, yeah.
You were sure.
I wasn't sure because I was working.
I was thrown out multiple times before I was 16.
We'll keep in mind too, as part of the reduction in the overall budget for this line item, Social Security, retirement, and unemployment are all payroll driven.
Yes.
Right.
All right, so we don't have 1 week of payroll that's going to alter those numbers by a certain amount.
Right. But the driver's always been the health insurance.
Of course.
To push it way up. At any rate, we're at 632, 736.
Can you explain to me how the deductible / HRA reimbursements work?
Damn you. I was gonna ask.
I'm going to defer to my executive assistant, Karen. How does that work?
Each employee is given amount depending on number of people in their family. And we get a card to use for when we go to pay for things.
So when the deductible got shifted upwards,
Right.
we ended up creating an HRA reimbursement account.
And on the same token, how does longevity pay kick in and where is it?
For an example, I think it's gonna start at 3 years, because I got something this year. And I didn't get something before, so you get $100 or.
So I'll get a little something next year. But really good.
Yeah, I found that to be very interesting. Their elected officials get a longevity stipend.
They don't. I don't, well, yeah, the.
I have no
the
idea, to be
treasurer-
honest with you.
The tax collector does, and the town.
There is a line item of $350 for selectmen's longevity stipend.
Did the selectmen get it?
Yeah.
Yes.
You got it? What?
Yeah.
Right there?
What?
Right there, $350.
Sometimes I'm better off not looking.
In fact, all the elected officials get a longevity stipend.
That was put in the policy manual in the year. In lieu of
I'm no
short,
longer gonna be the selectman representative to the budget committee.
in lieu of short-term disability and long-term.
Yep.
How very expensive.
How many town employees are there?
14.
each one?
14.
I counted 15. Karen?
I thought it was 14 too, to be honest with you. Oh, Abby,
really?
we have Abby
Oh.
now, right? Does that make it?
I'm sorry?
We have Abby now, does that make it 15?
Yes.
Yes.
Oh,
I can't
maybe.
recall.
I think, yeah, because I had 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, including Abby,
Okay.
7, 8, 9, 10, 11, 12, 13, 14, 15, yeah.
Okay, that must be the
And that
difference.
doesn't include any of the folks that are buying the insurance, right? For instance,
Those are
I
just
get,
the
I get
town
dental through the
employees.
town, but I pay for it.
Right, that's,
It does not include you.
right.
Right. And we have some retirees that get health insurance, but they pay
Right
for
there,
it.
3.
So when they retire, how long can they continue on that policy for? I don't know.
Well, if they're willing to pay for it.
Yeah, I think there is a time
So
limit.
they're paying full share.
Right, so if they've got an individual policy, whatever that rate is, they get to pay it.
So do we know how many dependents are on there besides those 14 employees, or the total number of people that were insured?
That was on the quote
Yeah.
when I saw it, but I don't think it's in here.
No.
We have 9 families, 8 families. But 8,
8 families
that's
of
right.
varying sizes.
They don't,
Well,
yeah,
no,
they
they
don't,
don't.
it doesn't make a difference if you have 5 kids or 2 kids.
I
One
wonder
kid.
if it's the
You
family
get a
plan,
family plan.
set cost.
There's 3 possibilities,
Yeah, I
a
saw
single
that.
person, a person and child,
Yeah.
or more than a person and child.
Yeah, it's spot.
3 people.
Yeah, 1, 2, more,
So it's 8 families?
8. That's what I have.
That's a tremendous benefit for those employees, because I don't know, what did that come in at in the quote sheet? About, what, $24,000 a year?
1,580, oh, family is 2136, so, yeah, $25,000 for,
2220 a month.
2220, so 22,000 plus 4,000 is 25,000. Should have just looked,
You look into that, that's the monthly cost.
2220 is the monthly cost.
There are no good answers to that. Melbourne Village Marina is going through the same agony right now. And, got whacked with an increase and, in our case, the employees' health insurance is almost completely paid for. They're kicking in something like $8 a week out of $530 or something per month. But for the family, the people on the family plan, I mean, you know, there's skilled people, most of them are skilled people, but they're getting, under the new renewal, $270 a week taken out of their paycheck to cover, not them, they're free, almost free, but to cover the rest of the family plan.
$270 a week?
A week, that's a deduction. And my son, we're an S corporation, my son Matt he can't get any free insurance. He pays for all of it himself.
Yeah.
That's why about once a month he asked me if we could change and become a C corporation. I said, sure, go ahead, I don't care. It doesn't make other sense though.
So,
We had extensive discussion about this earlier, and when I was reviewing it again after I got the paperwork yesterday, I'm shaking my head in abject wonder. I really am, because the insurance plan, the benefits plan for the town of Tuftonboro employees lives in a snow globe versus the rest of the world. Nobody has this kind of benefits plan.
oh, they do.
They did it, they addressed it in
Well,
the study.
You show me, and I asked the selectmen, you know, to do a comparison, to go to the local businesses, and I've asked around, nobody's got this.
Yeah.
Without, I mean, I'm not begrudging the plan itself, I'm begrudging the fact that there is, you know, no level of participation. The fact that we are paying the deductibles for employees after fully paying the plan. The fact that we have longevity stipends, the fact that we have, you know, well, in the case of one individual, 5 weeks vacation, 80 hours of sick time, 16 hours of personal time over the course of a year. That, it just isn't real anymore.
It sure is. You have 12 weeks of personal leave that just got voted on at the federal level for federal employees. 12 weeks. You know, full health insurance, full retirement. So.
Okay, so let's take this and put it into the real world, outside of the world of public service. Because
Well-
public service is the only place then, and I will digress, maybe public service is the only place.
Yeah.
Private industry is not doing this.
Well, no, private industry.
Townspeople are not getting this.
Private industry isn't doing it, that's true.
Okay, well, who's paying the bills in this town?
Well, the private industry can't afford to do it.
No, that's bullshit. It's, the problem is that we've gotten away from the idea of having employee participation in private industry profit. So you're looking at.
Or
apples
private
and
industry
oranges.
survival.
Or private industry survival.
Thank
I mean,
you.
I don't have a problem with revisiting in 2020, if I'm still around, this whole question and getting participation out of the employees. I don't have a problem with doing that. But I'm not gonna let the employees go backwards. So if they're gonna pay 10% of next year's health premium, it's gonna be made up in wages.
I agree, and if I looked at the report that came out, the wage study, they did address benefits, and they said we were about even with other towns.
I mean, I'd be happier to say, although it doesn't answer the moral question that seems to be on the table. I would be happy to say, okay, nobody gets a bump in their pay, you know, a step increase or any of that next year. I don't have a problem with wages stagnating. But the problem is to try to do the math that gets them into the participation of the healthcare system creates a much bigger issue, because if we were to charge them 10%, that's $31,000. Over 14 people, that's what, $2,000?
Roughly?
So it's $2,000 a head that they're gonna have to pay out of pocket in order to, well, it's actually more than that, it's probably $3,000. That they're gonna have to pay out of pocket in order to participate at a 10% level. I don't think you can effectively or reasonably ask your employees to take a $3,000 hit.
It'd
Well,
still
why don't
be-
you
it'd
start,
still be ahead of
why
the
don't you
game.
start in a lesser manner by saying, okay, we're not gonna be able to cover your deductibles anymore. I mean, even if, and I have a hard time thinking that the federal government is paying deductibles.
The HRA doesn't cover all the deductibles.
Or
No,
what-
they don't.
What we did was say, okay, this is how much Melvin Village Marina will pay, but we cannot continue to absorb the health insurance increases that come along every year. So the employees are gonna have to pay for we will bump up the amount we're paying by the cost of living every year, but the amount of health insurance beyond that, the employees are gonna have to pay for. And they have been for
Well, do you
several years.
wanna, I mean, I'm not averse to the
That was that
idea.
article I gave you, Chip.
I remember that.
Yeah.
And I'm not averse to the idea of the budget committee saying, okay, we'll pay $315,000 a year plus the COLA for health insurance, that's it. And so if we get a $10,000 increase.
I think that's what I was talking about. I don't know if that's what Gordon was talking about.
I mean, that might be an easier way to deal with it, I think, than.
I'm just tired of
There
being
is
the
no
same
easy
drum
way.
I've been beating for 3 years.
Yeah.
You know, my
If nothing's
If
happened.
if the study that was referred to had come back and we were way out of line, I'd be in agreement, but I'm not gonna, and I'm only one selectman, there's two other
I
guys.
understand that.
I find it difficult to just make, some sort of moral question about who's getting benefits and who isn't getting benefits and how they relate to the general public. I mean, if the total compensation package is a reasonable facsimile of the local economy, regardless of how it's broken up, whether it's in wages or benefits, I have a hard time being that hitman that says, okay, you're gonna get a cut.
Well, you
Well, what
know,
I think the
Yeah,
selectmen
I
have to
agree
do,
with Chip on this.
you know,
Okay.
the rest of us out there in the world that have to pay for our own insurance,
Right.
we take a hit, and we take a step backwards all the time because it keeps going up, and we have to keep paying that, and we can't raise our rates to cover that. We don't have anybody saying, well, maybe we'll go easy on you. But it's in the real world right now, healthcare is killing everybody.
Sure.
And yet we have this golden goose policy here, and the number is $1.9 million in wages and compensation and insurance, half the town budget, 14 people. You go, wow, you know? That's a staggering number.
I'd have to do the math. I'm not certain I agree with it being half the town budget, but
Well, 1.9 million, I mean, that number's written
that's
down.
everything. I mean, some of this stuff you can't avoid, you know?
I realize that, but there's ways to lessen the load on the rest of the taxpayers in town and put a little bit of a load on the people that are getting all these benefits.
Mhm.
And it's gonna come to that, it has to, because it can't continue doing what it's doing.
I would be hard pressed to find people who are residents of Tuftonboro
Mhm.
and work for a living, they're working age and work for a living, that get these kind of benefits.
Don't forget about in the private industry, one of the areas of consideration is from the income side is the bonus programs that a lot of companies offer in good years. Sometimes you don't get, but you know, a lot of the private industry benefits greatly from the bonus programs that are offered in private industry, which is, again, that's all money in the pocket. And that's a distribution, you know, of profits. I don't see how you can compare a government program with private business in terms of putting the employees in a scale. I don't know how you do it.
Well, you can to an
To a
extent.
certain degree, yeah.
I mean, the responsibilities are different, the tasks
Yeah.
are different. I mean, I can understand Gordon's point of trying to make it a reasonable facsimile of the current economy and the local job market. Maybe
but
we
the
should.
fact of the matter is, if the job market, if the local economy and the local job market tanked tomorrow, this policy is still in place,
Yeah.
okay? And that's why I'm saying it bears no relationships to the real world. The real, the real.
Well, yeah, there's less
non-public world.
risk, or no risk, if you will.
How, do you suppose if we somehow got around to the employees had to pay in a certain amount, they had to increase their deductible, they might take a little hit, but they get a pay raise every year, do you suppose anyone will say, that's it, I'm quitting, I'm done? I don't think they'd go anywhere, because they'd still say, we still have a great deal here. And they would, you know, so they're not gonna go anywhere, because they've got a great deal. It doesn't have to be that great, it could be just a little bit less great, and they still have a great deal.
I'd like to ask about a great deal that at least used to be in effect. Back when everyone's name was listed and their individual health insurance payments were listed, there were individuals that chose not to take the town's policy, and they were rewarded for it with a bonus. As soon as we went to this privacy, which is actually a sham, because anybody can look on the town website and find out who's who, those bonuses were rolled into their payrolls.
Because that's what it is.
Yeah.
Is that still happening?
Yeah.
Okay, can you justify why do we do that? Because they're trying to save the town money by not taking the money, and then the selectmen are choosing to spend the money instead, not all the money. But how does that work? I don't see the logic there.
Okay, if you have if it costs you $25,000 for a family plan, and the employee chooses not to take it, and you give them a $5,000 incentive not to take it, then you just save the town $20,000.
You haven't saved anything, you've spent $5,000. Not spending money is fine, but you spent $5,000.
Okay, first of all, you have saved $20,000 because you have an individual who was eligible for a family plan who chose not to take it. That's $20,000 less that you're paying. Whether or not you think that's a savings or not is not, I can't understand.
I understand your logic with that, but
Okay, so along with that, the only way they get that is to make sure that we have to verify that they have health insurance. Because we're not gonna allow employees to work here without health insurance.
for sure.
Because that's just counterproductive.
All right, so you verify that, and then you give them a number. I'm not saying that's
It is
$5,000.
$5,000.
Okay, that's fine, but,
Yeah.
so they actually cost us $5,000 by not taking the insurance. I shouldn't say that. The selectmen are costing us $5,000 per person, however many that may be. Not them. They're trying not to spend any of the town's money, and you're giving them money.
Okay,
Well,
Is that
they're
true?
still gonna have to go someplace for their health
yeah,
insurance.
they have to buy their health
So
insurance
this is
somewhere.
to
That's
help
right.
So
them
let's say
pay
they have
for
to
health
pay
insurance.
$25,000 or get compensated, their husband or whatever gets compensated
Mhm.
for health insurance. That's getting paid. We're not paying it. So it
Okay.
isn't that goes away, and it isn't that the $5,000 is somehow an extra expense. It is a less expensive employee from our perspective. So if the employee is $20,000 less expensive in their overall compensation package, that's a benefit to the town.
Okay. I'm gonna,
So it goes into their wages, because we can't give people money without it being a taxable income.
well, I don't want to belabor this too long,
All right.
but I will state my opinion, and I think that's a criminal abuse of the taxpayers' money by the selectmen.
Why?
I said it was an opinion, and I don't want to go any farther with it. That's just my opinion.
On that, when they chose not to have that,
Right.
and they have health insurance somewhere else.
Yeah.
Now, suppose it's someone who's married to a school teacher, and the school teacher
That would
has
be me.
Governor Wentworth insurance policy, which is a real good insurance policy too. So you're giving them $5,000 because they're not taking yours, but they're on another one, and they're fully insured anyway, at no cost probably. That's
I
kind
mean,
of
that's
seems
two
like.
ways to think about it.
What do they
I
do with
didn't-
the
I didn't-
$5,000? So
I
they
didn't
pay-
I didn't create the $5,000 reimbursement.
I didn't know about
It
the
was here
minimum.
when I got here, and it seems to be staying here. In previous iterations, it would have been, as you said, we win. We don't have to buy your health insurance, so we win. That's not the way it's set up here. You know, it just isn't. So the way it's been historically is the person who doesn't get health insurance through the town gets a $5,000 bonus.
It can come back and bite you, Jim. I've been bitten by that. They lose that other health insurance, and they go, okay, now I want to go on the plan,
Yeah,
try
now
to
they-
get that $5,000
Now
back.
they get the, well, you do. You
Well,
have to. I mean,
yeah.
whether it's wage garnishment or whatever, but you get the $5,000 back.
Karen wanted to say something.
No,
Karen?
I was just, if it makes you feel any better, it's all prorated and it's awarded at the very end of the year. So you wouldn't pay somebody, sorry, I didn't, I was.
Well, I didn't mean get it back after paying it, I mean, they don't want to lose that out of their pay every year.
Oh,
Even
I
though
see.
you're now
Okay.
paying for it.
Okay.
Yeah,
Who would?
yeah. Wait a minute, you're telling me because I want to go on the health insurance, I'm going to take a $5,000 a year cut in pay? Are you crazy? So,
No, we're not good.
Well,
I've been through that twice.
I'd like to address the 12 holidays lump sum at the end of the year too, that some people get paid. Now, we have some salaried employees who get paid same all the way through the year. Whether they work on a holiday or not, they get paid. Yes?
They get different pay on their holiday if they work. And I don't know who you're speaking of.
Let's just say, police chief, is he on salary?
He is.
Okay. He doesn't happen to work on the 4th of July. He's got it set up in the schedule that the other officers do. Yet he gets paid for that day because he's on salary. However, at the end of the year, he gets 12 holiday paid.
No. The chief is gonna get his salary pay week by week, every week during the year.
Mhm.
And his obligation is to work any day of the week that it's required.
Yes.
And he gets paid 12 holidays. He doesn't get an additional 12 days, so he's not getting 52 weeks plus 12 days. That's not happening. But the people who are getting that are like the fire department people,
Mhm.
whose schedule doesn't comport with the usual 5-day work week with 12 holidays. They're on all year. So they're gonna lose holiday days during the year, and they're gonna get paid for them.
After all these years of me sitting in these meetings and finally being on the budget committee, you've explained it to me in a way I can understand.
Thanks.
Thank you. Because there's been a tap dance every other time I can think of.
Yeah,
Thank you.
you're welcome.
well,
Thank you.
I'd like to make a motion that we approve the personnel administration account 4155 in the amount of $632,736.
I'll second that.
it's been moved and seconded. Further discussion?
Yes,
I would-
yes. Can we have some further discussion? It went down. I mean, I can't get upset about that, but
Well-
there's no way in our vote to address next year, is there?
No, well, there is a way, because I was going to, and as my role as chairman, I've never asked people for explanations as to why you voted yes or why you voted no after the fact, because after the fact doesn't make any difference. I will tell you right now that as chairman, I'm going to vote no. And the reason I'm going to vote no is not because I'm not in favor of providing, a good working environment for the employees of the town. It's more as, how else can I codify my displeasure with the way the selectmen have been dealing with this problem for an ongoing years? And it's not just the sitting board, it's boards going back 5-6 years. Until somebody, decides they're gonna rumble the ball and deal with this to see how things work out with the rest of the community, then I can't support this particular line. Does not mean I'm not gonna support the whole budget, but this one particular line is, I guess you could call it a protest vote. So,
I guess from the sitting board's perspective, I need to know what it is, not some amorphous notion, but I need to know exactly what it is that would make you vote yes.
what would make me vote yes?
Yeah.
What would make me, first of all, would be to take $26,000 off for paying deductibles.
Okay.
and some level of actual participation on the part of the employees in their health plan from a financial
Is
perspective.
there a magic, I mean, 10%?
No, I'm not gonna give you the figure. I'm just saying, I wanna see a good faith effort on the part of the selectmen. But you have to start somewhere.
I'm in total agreement with Gordon.
And, you know, it's not, and you can ask me how I wanna do it. I'm not a selectman. I'm the chairman of the budget committee. All I can do is give you an opinion of your budget. And this is how I'm gonna express my opinion. I think you guys do a great job. I think the department has done a great job putting together a very reasonable budget to deal with the, you know, needs of the community. This is one particular aspect that I just think has been glossed over for so long. And it's time to wipe that glaze away.
Yeah. The
That's
process
all,
needs
that's
to
just
be
my opinion.
started.
No,
Okay.
and
Can't be put off and put off. It needs to get started and worked on and dealt with, because it's a runaway train.
I still think, I know that this is a difficult area, but I still say you commissioned a study several years ago. The study found that we were competitive in this area and that we were in line with other towns. So I feel, I don't want to penalize our employees.
I guess I would ask, and I don't know whether you'll do it or not. I don't have a problem being that guy that changes this or tries to institute the change. But I'm not gonna stand out there on a plank with sharks underneath me alone. So if you guys wanna, without my participation, at the end of all of these budget hearings, have a meeting, take a vote, and say it is the current budget committee's opinion that this needs to happen, then I don't have a problem doing it. But I'm not gonna be out there alone. I'm just not gonna do it.
Well, you know, I think if a change is made, I don't think you'd be out there alone under any circumstances. But if you're gonna put the ball in our court to do your job, then I guess we'll have to discuss
I'm
it.
not,
Would you
I
have
think
a
the
meeting
nuclear
with town
option.
employees?
I'm not asking you to do my job. What I'm asking you to do is give us a directive, that this is what the budget committee expects. You've done it before. You know, you wanted a study on wages and compensation.
Okay.
You wanted us to come up with any number of insurance options that might work, even though you can't specifically direct us to do something like that. We did it. And I want all of us to be on the same page. That's all.
Would you call a meeting of town employees as a select board
What would
to
happen?
discuss? No, I'm just saying, you know, we've got to do something sometime. What do you think? And get some input from them too. I mean, and it's got to be input from all sides.
I'm not gonna, it's in a democracy, although it's supposed to be.
No, it's a republic, excuse
It's
me.
a republic. I mean, I think the selectmen have to come up with a couple of different options to run by the employees.
I can appreciate your point of view, and I would certainly, as chair, entertain what you'd like us to do.
Thanks,
Give you some kind of directive.
that's fine.
That's still not gonna change my vote for this evening.
I
but-
don't,
but
I
I'm
wasn't
just
looking
saying,
to change your vote for this
You know,
evening.
I'm just.
This isn't going away, so
Okay,
we might as well all start the movement.
okay, that's fine.
I'm fine with that.
Okay. So we have a motion, a second on the floor. Is there any other discussion? Those in favor of the motion, aye.
Aye.
Those opposed?
No?
No.
No?
How many no's are there?
I think it's a 3-4 vote.
Oh, excuse me. Gordon and Guy's against, right?
Yeah.
Oh, and Barry, excuse me. Okay, thank you.
And thank you. Because it's nice to be able to disagree without being disagreeable. I appreciate it.
Yeah, no.
We've all.
I can
been getting
appreciate
together on
your
that.
position, hopefully you can appreciate mine.
I do.
So if this line is not approved, what does that mean?
That means that the budget is $300,000 or $632,000 short. So you need to come up with a number that you will vote for, I think, or something has to happen. Because if the budget committee recommends a budget that's $600,000 less than what the selectmen are after, what do you think the town peoples are gonna vote for? And we're not gonna zero out.
Chip,
this.
Chip, am I right that with the health insurance, the new insurance goes into effect January 1st?
Right.
So that will already be in place. That can't be changed at that point in time for that calendar year.
Right.
That can't be changed at town meeting, it's too late.
Well, you just voted no on this whole budget.
That's because that was the only choice I had at the moment, but
Okay, at any rate, this budget now has selectmen 600 and whatever.
I
and
understand
budget
what you're
committee
saying.
0.
When we vote on the final budget, additions and deletions can be correct?
Absolutely.
Okay, so fine.
Right. So you,
Well, on the final budget, this will still be zero, all zero.
it's time to mull.
Yeah.
Okay. I mean, we're not done with these budget meetings.
Exactly.
Right.
Yeah.
All right, moving on then to 4199 of the general government.
No change.
No change.
The Joint Loss Safety Committee runs about, I think there's a few more dollars that are gonna hit that. And the capital improvement committee has expenses.
What is the JLMC Safety Committee?
Joint Loss Management Committee. Right, so we have to have a safety committee in order to, and we have buildings, and we have fire extinguishers, and we have exit signs, and all the rest. It's a employee
Handicap accessible.
operated
what section is this called?
committee that just looks at all the buildings.
Make sure we have fire extinguishers.
Yeah,
and
sure.
exit signs.
Right.
That's not part of Jack's job.
Although I think Jack is on the safety.
Jack is on it,
Yeah, I know.
Chrissy Sarles is on it,
Yeah.
I'm sure the fire chief and
And
police chief,
our
everybody's on it.
property and casualty insurance company gives us a list of things that we need to check, and they do it every year.
So where's that $150 go?
It goes for things like,
Supplies.
yeah,
Reports.
supplies, light bulbs for the exit signs, I mean, it's charging up stuff.
So does
I can
the,
get you a list.
does the CIP amount, does that include the printing of their report?
Right. I don't think we don't pay stipends anymore, so
Right.
it's just hard expenses.
I look at this line item in comparison to the last issue we were discussing. All I can think about is my days in business when I would write a check to the wholesaler for, $25,000, $35,000 for a bi-weekly payment in the summertime, and I get the phone bill, I said, who's been calling Barnstead? Twice.
Four times.
4 times.
Yeah, or I would just remember, I don't know if any of you were on the budget committee when I was selecting before, but arguing about the $75 after passing the $622,000 budget.
Yeah.
So I move that we approve 4199 other general government in the amount of $475.
Go ahead, Bob.
Second.
It's been moved and seconded. Do we have a discussion? Those in favor, aye?
Aye.
Moving then on to our furry friends, the animal control. Right, that's lost.
4414.
No change.
No change. We have to have, just to preclude questioning, we have to have money on the animal shelter line, because although we don't use it very often or whatever, we may have to, and that's what it costs if we have to use it.
Chip, is that, do we physically have an animal shelter, or is that what Lakes Region Humane Society charges?
That's the fee we charge. Right.
You
I
should
don't know,
have
the board of directors here, we're gonna have to charge more.
Take it out of your
chases on it.
So you have to pay that $250 if you want to be able to bring some animals to that animal
Count
shelter.
up on that.
That's a yearly fee.
Well, no, it isn't, we don't pay them anything until we bring something there.
Yeah.
And then it's gonna be part of that 250, and hopefully our animal control officer, who I think is our chief of police, determines.
Is that who the animal control officer is?
I move
I'm
it.
thinking of
Yeah,
running
they,
a dog
they
catcher.
brought a dog and a cat in, I think, just within the past day or two.
Did they?
They
Was there
brought
this
the
morning?
cat from Carolyn,
Yeah,
Right.
and I don't know where the dog came from.
I guess the police officer that brought the cat over decided to take it out of the cage and put it into the Humane Society's cage, and the cat just exploded. I mean, the cat tore the heck out of the poor guy.
I don't belong here.
Yeah.
Whoa, aw.
Busted out. Never take me alive, come back.
Second motion, Bob?
Yeah, I move acceptance of animal control number 4414 in the amount of $1,750.
I'll second that.
Moved in second. Further discussion? Very good, all in favor, aye?
Aye.
Opposed? Thank you. 4619, other conservation.
Why did the
I'm not sure what.
milfoil,
Joint board, the 750?
you know, because the department had asked for $75,000 and
No,
you said five.
$750.
No, for the, oh no, the milfoil CONT committee.
Oh, this one.
This one.
Because they weren't sure they were gonna do it or not.
Yeah, they're not gonna do it, I don't think. I mean, Bill felt as though, and he's Bill Marks,
I think they got a grant that diminishes it.
and
With
I'm not
three
sure if it's
different
actually
things.
gonna happen this year, because
However,
It didn't
at the, don't mean to speak out of turn for the selectmen's meeting, but I happened to be there for the selectmen's meeting. And there was discussion about taking that $20,000 and putting in a warrant article
yeah,
for an ongoing fund for milfoil treatment.
because it seems to jump up and down. I mean, if you go to the next page and look at what has been spent on that,
It's all over.
it goes from 8,000 to 4,000 to 6,000 to 20,000. And so, thanks for the reminder, Gordon, that Bill thought that a non-lapsing warrant article would be the way to go, is just put 25,000 or 20,000 in that. And then when it comes, we've got it, and then we don't. It's just-
Why does it jump up and down so much?
Because they don't actually,
2019, 24,000, they only spent 5.
they don't always go out with their machine and divers and all that other stuff and actually do a control. And that's determined by the climate, I guess, or weather factors, water
location.
factors. I mean, sometimes the milfoil's a bigger issue than at other times. And we are participating in.
Sometimes they just
It's a-
treat it
it's a
chemically.
Yeah.
It's multi-town.
Yeah.
Right, we're in a
Coverage.
consortium with.
Because we had that
two
big, the
towns.
big incident was down at the 19, not 19 mile, but,
Basin.
yeah, the basin last year, they had a huge problem down there.
So on that, if they have a $25,000 budget and spend 5, that 20,000, can't that just
No.
go into a revolving fund?
Because we're not a business. So all the money that's unspent on January 1st goes into the undesignated fund balance. So it's your savings account.
Yeah.
And then, because we only get to spend the budget that we have. We don't get to roll money over and spend it up next year, unless we decide to
Encumber.
encumber it. But the only way we can encumber is if we actually have a contract. So if we've hired somebody to do something and they haven't finished, we can encumber the amount of that contract. But whatever we don't spend, and there would be some every year that doesn't get spent, goes in the undesignated fund balance. And then in October, when we set the tax rate,
You can take some out of
we
that.
take a look at that and see where we are and put that up against taxes.
Good.
Yeah. it's not like a
So
business
it's a good little savings account for you.
for you. We don't get that.
Right.
It was for me.
If it's not through cash, it goes to encumbered balance, and that goes, there's enough up there, it goes to reduce taxes next year, that's good.
Or if you have a calamity, you can have a special town meeting in August to address the calamity, and you've got some money in the bank.
In the bank.
to-
Exactly.
Right.
The whole reason for having it.
Right.
I'd like to make the motion that we approve other conservation in the amount of $8,100.
I'll second that.
It's been moved and seconded, we have further discussion. Very well, those in favor, aye?
Aye.
Those opposed? Okay, that takes care of our budget line items for the evening. I have no correspondence. So moving on to November revenue. These are pretty good. However, I always have a problem with handwritten notes on
Yeah, I was wondering about
computer
that.
generated funds under land use change taxes.
Yeah, the land use change number of the 19,500. Trying to remember how that worked, but it has to go into 2019 revenues that we've already discussed because of when it came in. It can't go on to the estimated revenues that we're looking at here. So it's gonna get reflected again in the fall when we do the MS5. But
And where'd the 19.5 come from? Is that?
it was a change in use for 2 lots of Melvin Village that were sold for house lots that were in
Current use.
current use, that, so we get 10% of it, a 10% penalty on that. So
So,
Diane added that in so that you'll know going forward into 2020, even though it's getting reflected in 19, but for DRA's purposes, in 2020, when you look at the revenue, or you look at the revenue tonight to offset expenses, you're at $2,859,428.
so is it gonna show up in the year-to-date revenue at some point?
It will, but not until
January?
after January, after it's done.
The final account.
Those 2 lots sold for 195,000.
195,000.
Yeah, those 2 lots sold for.
Yeah.
When it comes out of current use, they're not paying their back tax, just 10% of the.
No, it's a 10% penalty, and the thought in the legislature was that 10% of the value was gonna make up for the lost tax revenue over however many years it was.
That's,
I don't know who did
Yeah.
that.
Yeah.
But you had 2 roadside lots on 109 in Melvin Village. I'm not sure 19 grand is gonna cover.
Were they bigger than 10 acres of land?
No, but they, and that was the other part that troubled me, is that they were part of the land mass across the street with a farmhouse extended over, and so these lots were part of that.
So you called that contiguous to the.
Somebody did. I mean, I saw them as 2 house lots, but that's just chip.
Huh.
At any rate, there they are. They will be paying taxes going forward, though, Gordon. just-
Oh, I understand that, no, I figured out how the formula worked out,
Yeah.
whether it was, a 10% penalty, or you had to indeed pay the taxes that you had been
Yeah.
foregone all the
Well,
years.
part of the problem that they ran into with the paying the back taxes, which I think was way back in the 80s, was they broke current use into 3 parts. So there's 3 different types of current use.
Yeah.
You get a different rate for each one.
Mhm.
It just became
In different towns
mathematical.
do it differently as to what can be in current use and what. Because I given Ospey $5,000, it should have come to Tufton Grove. It wouldn't have been 5,000 to Tufton Grove, but
It would have been the same. It has to be the same.
it wasn't, because Ospey said, well, we take 1 acre, that's it. We don't take, they're not gonna outline.
Oh, no, we can't do that either. Because I asked about taking 100 acres out and putting a house on it. And Jackie and DRA said, no, you can't do that.
Yeah.
It's whatever the zoning lot size for that district is, that's all you take out of current use, the rest of it remains.
Yet they went around my property and exempted the septic system and where the house was and
Yeah.
a shed and said, that's it. We're taking that out, $5,000. And that little amount had come out to Tuftonboro would have been 1,000.
Yeah, I don't know.
Which should have come back to Tuftonboro, but Boston decided they had my money, they were gonna keep it, so. But that, the current use thing is,
I've never had any land in current use, so I'm not.
Yeah.
Is the interest on investment figures coming from, is that trust fund income or is that other interest in the ground? 3502, last page,
Last page?
or second last page, page 3, bottom line.
Oh, interest from investments? That is on the undesignated fund balance.
Okay, so that's
And,
good, okay.
I think there, some of the tax rentals in there. I'd have to talk to Jack to see if there should be something in there. So that's, and we have some other trust funds.
So a little short, but that's okay.
Am I right in assuming that here we are on December 6th when this was done, and we had collected 71% of what we anticipated, but looking at it, it seems like there's a couple of big items that we haven't received yet. Meals and rooms tax
Right.
That comes in the end of the year.
comes in the end of the year, and there was one other thing like that. that I
The
saw.
library.
Yeah,
Yeah, when the library number comes in, that 18,000 never comes in, we have to, because it has to be reported. When you do the
No,
library,
I'm talking about the transfers from trust.
Yeah.
It's-
oh, that's in and out,
Yeah.
that's,
yeah.
Well, it's all the library donation fund and the library capital reserve fund, it's all for building the library.
Right.
So will we collect more of that money before year end?
oh, yes, yeah, we get another $140,000 tomorrow.
Okay.
But that doesn't improve our,
That just wipes out the, that $77,000 just wipes out what's left in the capital reserve
we're
fund.
never
so-
gonna get ahead of them.
But the 18,500 for the library is that we have, by law, the library has to have part of their budget provided by private sources every year.
Right.
So we have to budget $18,500. It has to go into the revenue for the town, even though it never comes out of revenue for the town. You see my point? That's just the way it does, we have to do it. It's both back actual way of doing business.
whose idea is that?
Not ours.
The state. And part of that is that whole dynamic of keeping the library, the hands of the local government off of the libraries, because there was a tendency years ago to close libraries down because
Yep.
we don't need, I don't read, so what the hell do I need a library for?
Mhm.
I'm noticing that payment in lieu of taxes is more than we estimated.
Yeah, I saw that too.
Yeah, Somewhere decided to be a little more charitable in their payment in lieu of taxes. How did that work out? That we are almost 150%.
Yeah, we based the payment in lieu of taxes on the year before.
Mhm.
I'll have to go through the list to see who's paid. I know there are some who won't pay.
Right, but apparently those that did have increased their amount a little bit.
Yeah.
Nice.
A lot of new cars this year.
I'm sorry?
Mhm.
A lot of newer cars this year. You see there were a month ago.
Those are up.
Economy's doing well.
Yeah. I
Any
don't
other
know
questions
what,
on revenue? Okay, business, Board of Selectmen, Chip.
I'm sorry?
Anything on the Board of Selectmen this evening?
We have, and I've been cracking the whip trying to get all the budgets done, and hopefully, what is that?
There are only 4 left.
Yeah, I'm hoping, I demanded that we get that done by the next meeting, which is sometime next week, I think, or the week after.
No, actually, it's not
Oh,
until
it's January.
Our meeting or your meeting?
Oh, your meeting.
Our meeting is until the 7th of January.
So we've still got government buildings and
Financial admin,
financial admin.
those are the 2 biggies.
Right. I did have a chance to, and I realize it's not gonna make any difference at all, but I did have a chance to review what we've done so far.
Mhm.
And I based my numbers on the approval of the selectmen, not on the approval of the budget committee. But if we add the financial and government buildings, emergency management, and other highway, I was coming up with, let's make sure I have that. Where is it? This one, 651. I was including the $651,911, which you did not vote for. And I'm coming up with a total budget, including the additional budgets that we haven't approved yet, but estimating them at about, I estimated them at a 10% increase, and they won't come in that high. A total budget of $3,508,698, which is against the 19 budget of $4,050,307. So there should be a reduction in the operating budget after we're done. I have a tendency to look at the whole picture as opposed to individual items. It's kind of like the police department or the landfill or whatever. I can't micromanage, but I hope I hire the best managers I can hire and they do the best job they can do, and I look at the whole picture. That's just the way I'm hardwired, so.
So most of the voters are probably gonna look at it, it's budget up or down.
Yeah, they tend to,
We all are.
and they don't,
I think we're all on that same page.
they don't, get into the minutia. They don't get to do that.
And we should.
Yeah, you shouldn't either, I think, but you do. At any rate, I think it's a good year. I think if we can keep a handle on the warrant articles, we had $970,000 worth of warrant articles last year. I don't think we're gonna get close to that this year. I think what will be the result is the result that we told us the taxpayers would happen. We'll pay for the library in 1 year, your taxes are gonna go up for a year, and then they're gonna come back down. And I think they'll come back down next October.
So if you're correct with your $3,500,000 budget, the townspeople
I'm
would never
estimating.
vote the budget down because it would go to a default budget to last year's of $4 million, right?
No.
No.
No,
Isn't that how
it's
that
only if
works?
you don't vote for a budget. So if we can't come to some agreement to have a budget, it's gonna go to a default.
Which would revert back to last year's amount. would it not?
Right.
Which would be
Without,
more.
no, defaults don't go, well, it goes back to last year's budget, but without any warrant articles.
Right.
And any other contractually
Yeah.
listed items. Now, we
So
have,
they
for
would
example,
deduct all the warrant articles out of
well,
there.
warrant articles go out, but it's
But we still have
also,
to pay the employees. You can't exempt them from your budget finagles.
Yeah,
So-
I was just wondering that, 'cause I.
Yeah. And if we've got a contract with
Revert
somebody, we
back,
have
so-
to, like our, not health, because we're already debating that, but the property liability, for instance, we're gonna sign up on that. That's not a question.
yeah,
It's been approved by you guys, so.
it's interesting, default budgets very often come in more higher than the regular operating
Yeah,
budgets.
that's what I was wondering, you know.
Okay.
Yeah, I think, I don't see any real possibility of having that happen. I mean, if we were coming in there with a $5 million budget, I could maybe be a
That
little
would
concerned.
never
with
fly us, because everybody's tax bills just went up too, so I mean, you know, and they're not pleased at that. You know, what do you do, you know?
Tell them to pay attention, go to town meeting. The
Yeah.
last town meeting, we said, we want to pay for the library in 1 year, we don't want a 20-year
I-
debt,
I know that
and your taxes are gonna go up for a year.
That's the
And if they don't like it, that's because they didn't go to town meeting.
Nobody goes to town meeting, and at a town meeting now, a small group of people can control the meeting and get what they want,
I don't
because,
see town meeting moved to June.
yeah,
Who would do that?
on a Saturday.
No,
Why does it have to be in March?
it doesn't. But it can be April or May, as I was reading the RSA about it. You can move it, but not all the way to
Yeah,
June.
you can't go to June because of the fiscal year of the state.
But you go to May.
Stuff.
You could go to May.
You
Nobody
can go to
can
a
do that.
different day. I've not been opposed to the idea of having it on a Saturday.
On Saturday, or, you know, the nice thing about it, if you did it in May, then all the people who are actual taxpayers here, I'm not talking about the summer people with a summer house here, but the taxpayers who are here,
They
but
have to
aren't here.
be,
Yeah.
they have to be registered voters.
I understand
Yeah,
that,
but
but my
they're
point is
not
that
here in March.
Oh,
they
they're
will
on.
be back.
Yeah.
They will be back.
It's no,
You know?
Yeah.
they vote, we have the ballot on the ballot, but you can't vote at town meeting, obviously.
We've never had more than 600 and some odd people at town meeting, have we ever?
It's abysmal, but
Well, we had the big one was when the,
the fire station, yeah.
I don't think we had more than 600.
no, there were no, well, we put, check my coordinates.
That's a
Don't have the capacity to put
good
that many
question.
people in the
Yeah,
building.
It'd have to be out in the parking lot.
Yeah, you have to have it in July and a tent out in the school.
Actually, you can have it in another town, in another facility.
Yeah.
Yep, it can be scheduled that way. If you anticipate that kind of,
I don't think we've ever turned anyone away.
No.
There has been talks about going into separate rooms with microphones and TV
Yes.
screens and
You've done
getting
that.
really complicated.
Yeah,
Yeah,
that's happened before. There was that, the school district going, had people in different
In
places
the
with
different
cameras
rooms
and
at the
microphones.
school.
What, the school district?
School district.
Oh, years ago, before
Before it went to the
That's me
deliberative.
too, yeah.
Yeah.
Okay, next meeting is January 7th, post-holidays.
Make a motion to adjourn the meeting.
We have to have public input,
Oh, excuse me.
and if there is no public input,
Then I will make a motion to adjourn the meeting.
move, we have a second.
Aye.
Those in favor, aye?
Aye.
Okay.
Have a nice Christmas.
Merry
and a nice
Christmas.
New Year.